Good evening. It's just about 7 o'clock in the evening on Monday, July 8th. And you know what? For Monday, it wasn't all that bad. It was a little boring, which is good. A boring Monday is probably the best you're going to get. If you work an 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 job. And, boring Mondays, good start. Because you don't really want to come back from a weekend and have a tough Monday, right? Today, it's just a short video about a couple of things. One is an update, which is going to be at the end. But this episode, this little video, is about the best DAC you can possibly buy. The best, the top of the line, the greatest ever. Now, as you know, when we talk about amplifiers, we have to talk about DACs because you can't have an amplifier without a DAC. And when we talk about DACs, invariably, the question that always pops up is, what is the best DAC? What's the best DAC chipset? Is it perhaps a Wolfson DAC? Or is it a Cirrus Logic DAC? Or is it an AKM DAC? Or is it one of those other DACs that are lesser advertised? Which one? Which one is the best? Do I get the 4497 EQ from AKM? Or do I get the Wolfson DAC that's whatever number? I mean, which one do I get? Is the 4497 better than the 4490? Obviously, it has to be. It's so many more numbers improved. 7 more numbers, to be exact. And it gets frustrating for a lot of people when they don't really have any information about these DACs. Now, people who have players, DACs, that with those particular chipsets can tell you how those DACs, amplifiers, things of that nature sound to them. And that is helpful to a certain extent. And it's only helpful to the extent of that other person's ability to hear and convey what they are hearing. And it is only relevant, ultimately, to that person. Does that make sense? What they're hearing is only relevant to them, whether they like it or they dislike it, whether they pick up notes or they don't pick up notes, whether they get a particular feeling from the way that a DAC produces or helps produce sound or not. It's all up to them. And then they do their best to convey it to us. Us, who haven't listened to those pieces of equipment. And now if we're in the market to buy something, we have opinions galore, but nothing concrete. And that's okay, because that's just life. Well, there's not an audio store around where I live. There's a music store where you can go and buy musical instruments, but there's no audio store. You could go to Best Buy or Fry's or some big electronics store, look at their name brand merchandise like Sony, sometimes Denon, every once in a while Marantz. You can find some receivers from them, but more often than not, it's stuff that the mainstream is looking for: TVs, stereos, DVD players, Blu-ray players, things of that nature. And it doesn't really cater to audiophiles, because there's no real market for that anymore, if there ever really was. I mean, wide, vast market. So it's not to those companies, those stores' benefit to cater to the likes of us, because first of all, we're nitpicky. We're very nitpicky individuals, and for good reason. And second of all, we don't know what we want half the time. And so these stores can't stock items for us, just for us to come in and listen to it for about an hour and then walk away saying we're not going to buy it. Because that's what most of us would do. We would listen to it and then we would go somewhere else to try to find a better deal. I mean, come on, it's the 21st century. We would go on eBay or Amazon or AudioMart. So this is why I'm a little confused. Why do companies not provide actual information about why they implement certain DACs? For example, let's look at the Hibby R6. I think it's a great player. But What do they say about the DAC implementation? They say it's a full spectrum of sound. That's fantastic. But they also say, quoting, using dual ESS flagship ES9028Q2M DAC chips, HIBI R6 delivers an SNR, signal-to-noise ratio, of up to 120 decibels and THD plus N down to 0.0006%, a high-res audio performance that captures the depth and breadth of each note, allowing users to experience the subtleties of each instrument. The flagship, the best you can possibly get. High fidelity audio, they say, leverages OPAs, the op amps, 1612 by 2, meaning there's two of them, and TPA 6128 by 2, meaning two of those. A stupendous performance dual channel for low pass filtering and amplification, offering a high power output up to 300 milliwatts under a 32 ohm load and greater stability and capacitive loading. My, it sounds as if this HIBI R6 is really packed to the gills with the best, which it may in fact be. It sounds great. But what if we go somewhere else? How about we go to Cowan? Cowan, that's known to make good players. This is the Plenu 2. And they say on the Plenu 2 webpage, the latest ultra high quality premium DAC AK4497 EQ DAC. AKM's latest AK4497 EQ DAC equipped with high-end audio equipment is a premium, high-performance, state-of-the-art successor to the 4490 DAC. It minimizes the noise and distortion and faithfully reproduces high-resolution audio via AKM premium sound technology, pushing audio DAC performance to its very limits. The Plenu 2, featuring the AK4497 EQ DAC, with specifications and characteristics on par and even exceeding the highest standards of audio equipment, vividly reproduces sound that most closely mirrors the original and handles audiophile quality, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz, lossless, uncompressed, as well as DXD and DSD sources. Ugh. So this is a flagship for AKM, right? So the R6 has the ESS Sabre, right? The ESS ES9028 EQM2MXYZ, and then the Cowan has the AKM 4497 EQ, and then we're not finished yet. And then there's the Astro & Kern SR15, which is their entry-level player. It used to be the AK Junior for about, I think, about $500, $600, something like that. Now you can find it on eBay for about $200, brand new, by the way. But Astro & Kern, they use the Cirrus Logic chip. And here's what they say about the SR15. They say the A and Norma SR15 has adopted the Master Hi-Fi Class DAC CS43198 for the first time in a portable system. At Astro & Kern, we believe that true hi-fi sound should be as close as possible to the original performance. The CS43198 is one of few DAC chipsets that is capable of bringing us even closer to the original when it's matched with the analog amp design of Astro & Kern. In result, it brings even more liveliness and warmth and sound without distortion. Oh, so this must be the pinnacle of Master Hi-Fi. They say the pinnacle of Cirrus Logic, CS43198. My. I mean, surely this is also the best that Cirrus Logic could create. Here's the issue. Do you need the best? But that's really the question. Do you need the best? We may want the best. Everybody wants the best. But do we need the best? Because you're going to have to pay a price for getting the best. You will have to pay a premium for getting the best. What is the premium for the SR15? Well, it's $699. That's the premium. What about Cowan? What's the premium for Cowan? Well, premium for Cowan, the P2 is about $499. They don't have it on this website, but if you go on Amazon, that's about the price of it. What about the HIBI R6? Well, it depends where you get it, but right now it's $599. It does sell for between $650 and $699. My. You're paying a premium for that premium DAC chipset. But what if there was a way for you to get good sound, good tech, good audio at a lower price. Would that make you change your mind about buying these name brand items? Now, I'm no knock against Hibby. I really like the Hibby R6. And no knock against the Cowan. I really like Cowan's players. I have 3 of them. No knock against the SR15. I have the SR15. I like it a lot, besides its quirks. But ultimately, how much of a difference is there between the flagship and one step below it? Or this flagship versus another flagship? A Cirrus Logic flagship versus an AKM flagship versus some other flagship. What really is the biggest difference? And it's hard to tell. So when people say, I want the best, do they really mean they want the best? Or do they mean they want the best for them? Maybe that's a stupid question. Maybe that question is the same to people. When they say, I want the best, what they really mean is, I want the best for me. And if that's the case, then is it relevant or is it even reasonable to look at the higher priced items? Now, yes, the higher priced items come with some extra features that lower priced items don't get. Better build quality for the most part, touch screen capability, faster processors, not always, but usually. Better implementation of the UI and the software. Better sound overall, maybe. That's a question. Still up for debate. And you're definitely paying that brand name, right? You are licensing the brand name from the company. You are paying their premium to put in your pocket a player that they made with their design, with their stamp on it. And let's be honest, that's quite a big chunk, right? You don't seriously think that Astle & Kern spent several $100s to build an SR15. Surely it doesn't take them $400, and they're only selling it to us for $700. Surely you don't believe that the Cowan player, it takes them $300 to build it, and they're only selling it to us for $400 or $500. And a similar analysis for the Hibby R6. Surely. But what if there was a way to get something better? Well, that's the experiment. That's the guess. Now, I have to have a poster child here, right? I have to have something that is heralded amongst the audiophile community as the best, or one of the best. And that is the Chord Mojo. Now, I don't have the Chord Mojo. I've never heard a Chord Mojo. I've never found a Chord Mojo under $350. It sells for, I think, $499, $450 brand new, something like that. And it's on eBay continually. It will never, ever be off of eBay, unlike the 789, which once it's gone until the next rush. But Chord Mojo is always available, and it's almost always the same price, around $350. People swear by it. Audiophiles say it's the best thing they've ever heard. They say that this replaces their desktop amplifier and DAC, that they would take it anywhere with them. And maybe Chord is a great player. The consensus is that it's an excellent player, but there isn't a consensus, as far as I've been able to notice, that it's worth its premium price tag. So in the pursuit of trying to find a Chord Mojo Lite, essentially, something that other people claim, and I don't know since I haven't heard the Chord Mojo, but other people claim is very close to the Chord, but at a fraction of the price, at least 1/3 the price. And what is it? It's this. The Zishan DSD Pro, which has the AK4497 EQ DAC. Yes, that's right. The same 4497 EQ DAC that's in the Hibby. That's right. No, wait, not the Hibby. Is it the Cowan? Which one had it? Now I forget because there's so many DAC implementations. Yes, there we go. The Cowan. The 4497 EQ. And by the way, it's not just in the Cowan. It's in a plethora of music players, high-end music players, and desktop as well. So this thing that costs $100 right now on AliExpress, and I'm not promoting AliExpress. I'm not convinced that AliExpress is a safe place to buy things. Plenty of stories out there that anecdotes that AliExpress sellers on that website have not given them what they were promised. Let's leave it at that. But for $102.47 plus, you can get a $3 discount, I think, if you sign up with AliExpress for the first time. New user coupon, $3. So under $100, you get this player that has the AK-4497, the newest, the flagship AKM DAC, right? And on top of that, it plays DSD files. And on top of that, this thing allegedly does something unique. It runs basically a Windows operating system of some sort, or at least Linux. It's not Android, at least from the reviews I've read. Maybe there are other reviews that disagree. But you know what else it does? It provides something unique. Apparently, it provides a spectrograph for your music. You know what a spectrograph is? Here, this is a spectrograph. A spectrograph basically puts your sound waves in a vertical slices, and it color codes them. Well, darker and lighter and all that stuff. And for some people, a spectrograph is preferable to a waveform graph. It's preferable to this, for example. You see this? Preferable to something like this that you can see on my Adobe Audition recording. And this apparently comes built in with the Zishan. And I've never seen that anywhere. I in all the players that I've ever used, I've never seen that implementation. And yet, apparently, it's in this thing for less than $100. And you know what? People claim, some people at least, that the Zishan sounds almost as good as the Court. Now, obviously, I will not be able to make that claim because I haven't heard the Court. I wouldn't be able to make that claim. But what I could say is the following. Would this player be able to compete with the higher-priced players for sound alone? Only sound. We're not talking about user interface. We're not talking about touchscreen because this thing doesn't have it. We're not talking about the build quality because, let's be honest, the higher price tag does bring you generally better build quality, but we're talking about sound. And if we're about sound, and if we really just want sound, and if this $100 device made in China with some intriguing features, if this thing can keep pace with the Hibby R6 or the Cowan players or the SR15 or the Sony, then we may need to take a step back and reassess this whole flagship and the biggest and double and dual and all this raw power. We may have to take a step back and reassess. And this is why I think that this next purchase is going to be an interesting one. Now, I'm trying to get this player for a little bit better discount. Now, I'm not going to get it from AliExpress, although I would theoretically, if I purchase it from AliExpress, I would get it for cheaper than on eBay. My concern about AliExpress is that I'm not so convinced that AliExpress actually gets me stuff or would get me stuff. So I'm going to have to consider this, and we'll see. Tell me what you think. Have you heard anything about the Zishan DSD Pro? If you have, leave a comment down below. Are you interested in the Zishan DSD Pro? What do you think about high-priced DACs and amps, and more relevant to this video, digital audio players? Do you think that paying more gets you more every single time? Or are you prepared? Are you open to excusing poor build quality just enough? And are you prepared to sidetrack and excuse user interface that you can touch? Are you willing to step aside and say, I don't really care so much about having full Android, and I don't really mind not having this perfect implementation of a company's own designed player app? And am I really just in it for the music? Those are questions only you can answer. And when I get this product and I have a chance to test it, and then we go head to head amongst all those players that we just spoke about, and we'll find out whether it is okay sometimes to get the cheap one. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. It's a short video, kept it 20 minutes almost. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday evening and that you start your Tuesdays with a big smile. Have a wonderful night. Take care.